we have seen a great deal of uncertainty enter the market over the last few days, and we would have thought that oil prices would have gone a little bit lower as we went through the year. But obviously now with the political risk increasing, we have to reassess that. Probably though, demand will still hold up at $100 because historically, demand has survived even higher prices, particularly when adjusted for inflation. So I think we will be okay in that respect. In terms of supply, well, this is where things get much more worrisome because obviously Russia is a major exporter of oil in the form of crude oil, but also in the form of refined products. And we are likely to see some sort of disruptions, even though the energy flows have not been targeted for sanctions.
Richard, will we not see some of the other OPEC plus members actually fill any deficit that there may exist? I mean, it's interesting. We've already seen some countries like Japan and Australia say they'll dip into strategic reserves. You don't expect Saudi or a few of the other companies to step in and fill any deficit?
Yeah, it's difficult to call, right? Because OPEC is now OPEC plus, and obviously one of the kingpins of OPEC plus is Russia. So if that happens, that would essentially mean the end of OPEC plus and OPEC's role in managing the market. So it is a little bit more difficult to call, but because it is a political call. Of course, it would be very helpful. I would imagine that President Biden would be very happy if the Saudis actually started pumping more oil. But whether this is going to happen is difficult to say. Of course, we know that OPEC Plus has been sticking to a very steady production plan over the last year. And there's probably no reason right now to say they will deviate from that, even though they themselves have not really fully met their obligations under that plan because their actual production is a little bit below what they should be producing. So it's a difficult call. I think it's a political decision. And I mean, it would be very helpful. What may also be helpful would be reaching an agreement with Iran in terms of the nuclear deal, because that could very quickly bring oil back into the market. Iran has maybe 100 million barrels of oil in storage that could quickly come into the market. And then obviously they could supply something like 1 million to 1.5 million barrels per day of oil into the market also.
Richard, from the short to the long-term picture, can I ask whether we're at a pivotal moment here around Russian oil and gas, whether it's welcome to the same extent that it has been in the West versus what we've seen before? Because Nord Stream 2, the certification process has been impacted. We talk about here pushback from Boris Johnson about the reliance on Russian oil and gas. Do you think anything changes on the back of these developments around Ukraine?
Oh, yes. I think there's major developments that will take place because of this. First of all, the Nord Stream 2 project is largely dead in the water now. It was never really alive because it was always in some sort of limbo, whether it's political or bureaucratic, but it is dead. It's a major infrastructural project, and I would not see Russia going back to what it did in the past, which was to supply, a lot of gas through Ukraine and Belarus. So I think these flows have dropped by about 70% over the last year, and they're going to remain low. The remaining 8 BCM that Russia sends into Europe is very problematic, because if anything happened to that, Europe would be really dead in the water also. So I don't think that will be weaponized, but I think obviously, the sensitivity of this is huge. So Russia, for both Russia and Europe, I think Europe will be looking at ways to meet its energy demands, not relying on Russia. Russia will also now be looking at new customers. Of course, they will need to build pipelines, more pipeline capacity into the east, into China in particular, also expand their LNG capacity so that they can go to different markets. But yeah, I think this has major implications. Exactly how that plays out also in light of, let's say, the energy transition and what's going to come in the next 10 years is also a little bit hard to say, but certainly I think we will see a realignment.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.